The dummy pit call. This is where the mind games begin. Seriously, the dummy pit call is pure deception. A team tells their driver to box, or more importantly, makes it look like they're about to, just to see if the guy behind panics and follows. It's like saying, I'm breaking up with you, just to see if they cry. Spoiler, sometimes they do. You'll see mechanics rush out with tires, jackman in position, everyone ready. The rival team notices, and bam, they box their driver early. They're thinking, we can't let them undercut us. Except, the bluffers, they don't pit. They just laugh, wave their tires around, and stay out. And now their rival is stuck on fresh tires with a ruined strategy and a growing sense of regret. It's cruel, it's sneaky, it's beautiful. Red Bull's pulled this off more times than Ferrari's miscalled strategy, which is almost impossible. Verstappen's engineer lives for these fake-outs. Box, actually stay out, and Max just shrugs and sends it. Mercedes, they've fallen for it, more than once, because Toto sees the Red Bull crew moving and suddenly his whole pit wall goes DEFCON 1. Get Lewis in now! But Ferrari, they sometimes fall for their own dummy call. Yes, they fake a stop, then accidentally bring the driver in, like they bluffed themselves. Comedy at best. The trick is in the timing. You have to make it believable. You don't want to bluff too early or too often. Sometimes the driver is in on it. Sometimes he's just as confused. Box, wait, stay out, wait, no, box again. But when the bluff backfires, oh man, it's glorious chaos. You bait the rival, but they end up getting the undercut on you. Now you've just faked yourself into getting past. Genius move, strategist. But when it works, beautiful. You force your rival to pit into traffic. You stay out, pit later, and leapfrog them. And all because you moved a few tires around in the pit lane like it was a magic trick. The undercut. A very clever trick. You're stuck behind a slower car, your tires are still okay, but theirs, falling apart like wet paper towels. But you can't pass. Dirty air is messing you up. DRS is useless, and your race engineer keeps saying, we're monitoring the situation. Yeah, thanks lad. So, what do? Of course, you pit early, fresh tires, clean track, you go out and drive like your life depends on it. While the guy in front is still sliding around on dead tires, you're putting in hot laps. And when they finally pit, boom, you've already passed them, without ever being next to them on track. That's the undercut. It's smart, sneaky, and kind of cruel. You don't overtake on the track. You do it with tire math and timing. It's like quietly leaving a party and letting people wonder where you went. Red Bull are kings of this move. Verstappen, he undercuts like he was born in a pit lane. Think back to Silverstone 2021. Verstappen pits early. Hamilton stays out. Bad idea. Max's fresh tires are blazing. Hamilton comes out of the pits behind him and probably starts screaming in British. Check, undercut complete. But undercuts don't always work. If you pit too early, your tires might wear out before the end of the race. You'll be fast for a few laps, but then you'll be sliding around like Bambi on ice while the other guy just drives away. Not great. Worse, if you pit into traffic, you're stuck behind slow cars. And your whole undercut plan becomes a slow, frustrating waste of a tire set. So to do it right, you need a fast pit stop, a clean out lap, no traffic, and ideally, not Ferrari engineers doing your strategy. When it works, it's beautiful. You pit, you fly, your rival pits, they come out behind you, and you, already gone. 1 minute they're in front of you, next minute they're yelling on the radio asking, where did he go? The safety car pit stop, lights out, drama starts, and suddenly someone bins it into a wall, cue the yellow flags, safety car deployed, time to panic, time to pit. Because this right here is pit stop gold. Under the safety car, the whole grid must slow down, which means pitting now costs way less time. Like a buy one, get one free offer on tire changes. If you pit under green flag, you lose 20 to 25 seconds. Under safety car, maybe 10 to 12, that's a bargain. That's Black Friday kind of cheaps. So teams jump at it. Box! The driver dives in, the crew flies into motion, and now it's a pit lane party. Half the field's in, total chaos. This is where you either gain 5 positions or lose your entire race in one traffic jam. But here's the thing, you've got to time it right. Too late, you pit after everyone else and come out behind traffic. Too early, safety car doesn't even pick up the leader yet, and now you're out of sync. Or worse, you pit while the pit lane's closed. Hi Lewis, Monza 2020. Yeah, that happened. But it can go very wrong, like pitting from P2 to come out P14 wrong. Because if everyone pits, it's a parking lot. You might even stack with your teammate and turn your race into a pit lane picnic. And don't even mention if your pit box gets blocked by another car. Suddenly you're sitting there, engine cooking, watching P6 become P16. Of course, Ferrari once tried to not pit during a safety car and just stayed out while everyone else got fresh rubber. Bold strategy, didn't work. Bottom line, safety car pit stops are high stakes. You gain a lot or you get played. The overcut, which is maybe even smarter. Now flip the script. You don't pit early. You stay out, even when your tires feel like they're made of soup. Why? Because you're gambling. Gambling that the guy who pitted already will get stuck in traffic, or that his tyres will take too long to warm up, or, if you're really bold, that your used up tyres are somehow still faster. This is the overcut. It's the pit stop equivalent of saying, nah, I'll wait, while your race engineer quietly hyperventilates in the background. Sometimes it works brilliantly, especially on tracks like Monaco, where overtaking is basically a myth and track position is everything. If the guy ahead pits and comes out behind a Williams doing Sunday cruise pace, congratulations, you just gained a place by doing nothing. That's the dream. But when it doesn't work, oh boy, it's like waiting too long to reply to a text, then realizing they've already moved on. You lose the position, the tire grip, and possibly your will to live. Classic case, Monaco. every year. Strategy in Monaco is just a waiting game. Overcut wins here because passing is impossible unless someone crashes or forgets how to brake. Stay out long, pit late, and hope the others boxed into traffic. It's passive-aggressive genius. But try that in Monza, good luck. With long straights and easy passes, an overcut there is like bringing a spoon to a sword fight. Your warm-up lap turns into a nightmare while everyone else zooms past. So when do teams go for the overcut? When their tyres still have some life? When their rivals are boxing into traffic? When they have nothing to lose? Or a Ferrari pit wall that thinks they've got it under control? The key is keeping lap times decent while everyone else is on fresh tyres. That's not easy, but it's possible. And if you pull it off, you get to pit after your rival and still come out ahead. It feels illegal. It feels amazing. You just made doing nothing look like a masterstroke. Of course, if your tyres completely die and you're crawling around while they're flying on fresh rubber, well, now you're just giving away positions like it's Christmas morning. The double stack, 2 drivers, 1 pit box, 0 margin for error. The idea is simple. There's a safety car, or some golden strategy moment, and both your drivers need to pit at the same time. So you bring them in one after the other. Car A pulls in, gets serviced, bolts. Car B stops immediately after and hopes the mechanics have teleportation powers. Best case scenario, Red Bull 2019 Germany. Verstappen in, Gasly in right behind. Both serviced in under 4 seconds combined. Pit crew looking like synchronized dancers with wheel guns. But now the worst case scenario. Hello Ferrari. Brazil 2019, double stack attempt. First car serviced, second car, no tyres ready, mechanics sprinting, chaos. It looked like a school play where someone forgot their lines. Leclerc's radio, silence, followed by confused rage. Classic. It's high risk, high speed, and requires God-level coordination. Because if the first stop is even a second too long, the second car is stuck waiting behind, watching their race slip away 1 awkward inch at a time. Teams like Mercedes and Red Bull, they've nailed it. Their pit crews train for this stuff like it's Olympic sport. Ferrari, sometimes they're still arguing over which tyres to bring out. But hey, when it works, oh it works. You gain track position, undercut rivals, avoid traffic, and come out looking like geniuses. And you save time over splitting the stops, especially under safety car. When it doesn't, you give F1 Twitter another reason to roast you. The key things that matter, the lead driver must hit their marks. The team must have tyres for both cars ready. The second car must not speed into their teammate's gearbox. If everyone does their job, you're golden. If not, welcome to Pit Lane Clown Hour, starring your mechanics tripping over tyre warmers. But when you get it right, you look like absolute legends. That rare moment where everything clicks, the pit crew looks like gods, and both drivers exit thinking, okay, maybe these guys do know what they're doing. Unless you're Haas, then your wheels just fall off anyway. The virtual safety car pit stop. Alright, so safety car's dramatic cousin just showed up, the virtual safety car. Under a virtual safety car, every car has to slow down to a set delta, which means the whole field crawls like it's stuck in school zone traffic. Nobody overtakes, nobody races, everyone drives like grandmas in the passenger seat. Which also means pit stops cost less time. Not as much as a full safety car, but enough to make engineers twitch with excitement. If a normal pit takes 20 seconds, under VSC it might take 13 to 14, that's a 7-second discount. You'd kill for that in a race where every 10th matters. But here's the twist. VSCs don't last long. Sometimes it's 30 seconds. Sometimes it's over before your strategist finishes saying box now. So if you're gonna do it, you've got to nail the timing. Too early? VSC still on, but you come out behind someone slow and can't pass. Too late? VSC ends while you're in the pit lane and now you're losing full speed time. And guess what? The guy you were undercutting, he's laughing now. But what makes this even spicier? There's no stacking. Under VSC, you only have a small window. No time for teammate games. No double stacks. Just raw, solitary pit hustle. One shot. Don't miss. And when it works, it's magic. You pit, rejoin ahead, and the other guy on track doesn't even know what hit him. Wait, how did he get in front? But when it doesn't, you're sitting there with a 7-second penalty of shame, wishing your strategist had looked up from the monitor 2 seconds earlier. The pit lane trap. The most sneakiest of them all. The pit lane trap is when a team uses the pit stop timing, not the stop itself, to screw someone else over. We're not talking tyre strategy here. We're talking psychological warfare, and sometimes just barely inside the rulebook. Here's how it works. Let's say you're ahead of your rival on track, but just barely. You both want to pit, but if you go in at the same time, you'll stay ahead. So what do? You slow down. Just a little? Just enough? You bait them, you make them think you're staying out, then last second dive into the pits and box them out. Now they can't pit that lap, pit lane's blocked, they've got to wait another lap while their tyres scream for mercy. It's the Formula 1 version of cutting someone off in traffic, but with $100 million at stake. Red Bull's done this. Mercedes too. It's the kind of trick you only learn after years in the trenches of strategy meetings. But the pit exit, just as nasty. You time your pit stop to exit right in front of your rival. You're slower, your tyres are cold. But guess what? You just became a mobile roadblock. They can't pass. You're ruining their outlap. And by the time they get past you, your teammate is already 5 seconds up the road laughing. The FIA technically watches for this. Stewards don't love it. But unless you really slam the brakes or cause a crash, most of the time it's a slap on the wrist, if that. This is F1. You don't need to cheat. You just need to bend time and space to annoy the guy behind you. And if it's Ferrari being pit trapped, you can guarantee their radio will just go, "What are we doing?" followed by a long pause. It's not flashy, maybe not fair, but if pulled off right, absolutely brutal. The tyre offset, this is where things get personal, because nothing causes beef in F1 like different tyres on equal cars. You're on mediums, the guy behind on softs. Suddenly you're not racing, you're surviving. It's a ticking time bomb and the timer's labelled grip. This is tyre offset. When two drivers pit at different times or just make different compound choices, you end up with a pace difference so dramatic it feels like they're in a different category. One's on race mode. The other feels like they're towing a caravan. Soft versus hard. Medium versus old hard. Used hards versus fresh softs. It all ends with one thing: rage. You hear it on the radio. How is he so fast? I can't defend. These tyres are gone. Translation: why am I still on these glorified shopping cart wheels while he's zooming past me? Offset is all about timing and guts. You can pit earlier for softs and gain time, but then those softs die and you're stuck defending like your life depends on it. Or you stay out longer, go for hards, and pray your consistency beats their short-term glory. Remember Hamilton versus Verstappen, Hungary 2019? Max pits first, fresh tyres, Lewis stays out longer, pits for mediums later, and hunts him down like a heat-seeking missile. Classic tyre offset ambush. Max is there thinking he's got it in the bag, but then boom, new tyres, new lap times, new problem. Offset also creates amazing radio comedy. Engineers trying to be optimistic. You're doing great. Driver: he just passed me like I'm parked. What do you mean you're doing great? But when you're the one on the better tyre, oh, it feels evil. You dive bomb into corners, you get on the throttle earlier, you make the guy in front question all their life choices. You're not just overtaking, you're haunting. Of course, if your team gets it wrong, you're the one getting haunted. This is why strategy is never just about when to pit. It's about what you're putting on. The pit lane hold. Here's where it gets spicy. You're in the box, 4 tyres on, lollipops up, you're ready to launch, but nothing happens. You're just sitting there, car vibrating, fans watching, engine getting hotter than the team principal's face in a post-race interview, but yet no green light. Why? Because someone is coming down the pit lane, and if your team releases you now, that's a big fat unsafe release. And in Formula 1, that's not just a slap on the wrist, that's a 5-second time penalty. Minimum, and 5 seconds in this sport is enough to go from hero to zero. So your team holds you, even if it means losing track position, even if it means your driver starts screaming, "Why are we not going?" over the radio like they've just discovered brakes for the first time. The best teams, they get this right. Mercedes has AI running their pit release lights. Red Bull practically time it to the millisecond. They'll hold a car for 1.1 seconds to avoid a penalty, and still come out ahead. Haas, they just roll the dice. Is there a car there? Maybe. F it. Let's YOLO it. Half the time the stewards have to pull out slow motion replays just to figure out which carbon fiber piece crossed the line first. But here's the thing, sometimes the hold hurts. You lose 1, maybe 2 positions. Your undercut gets ruined. You exit the pit lane and you're now stuck in traffic behind cars that shouldn't even be in the same race tier as you. And guess what? That 5 seconds you avoided might not even matter now because you're not even in the points anymore. You're just in a podcast discussion about whether your strategy team has Wi-Fi. Then there's the fake hold. You creep forward, you make it look like you're yielding, but really you just delayed the guy behind. Classic mind games, a little dirty, a little clever, totally F1. Sometimes you don't hold, you send the car and pray, and if the stewards miss it, congrats, you just got away with almost murder. If they don't, enjoy sitting still during your next stop while a mechanic counts out your punishment in slow motion. In the end, pit lane holds are like seatbelts. Annoying when you need them, but absolutely essential. The splash and dash pit stop. This one's is not used anymore, but oh man, it used to be chaos. Back in the refueling era, pit stops weren't just about tires. They were about fuel, and how little of it you could get away with carrying. Enter the splash and dash. You pit near the end of the race, not for new tires, not for undercuts, just for a tiny gulp of fuel to make it to the finish, like a marathon runner grabbing a sip of water at the 40-kilometer mark. In, fuel hose on. 3 to 4 seconds. It was all about shaving weight, less fuel equals faster car, and if you could run light, gap the field, and then do a lightning stop, you won. Simple. Except, not simple, because refueling in F1 was basically inviting the gods of fire to play roulette. Fuel hoses jammed, nozzles leaked, fires literally broke out. Remember Massa 2008 leaves the pit lane with the fuel rig still attached. Ferrari mechanics waving their arms like traffic cops. Total disaster. And yes, they still lost that race. But the splash and dash also created insane endgame drama. 2 laps to go. Leader dives in for 3 seconds of fuel. Second place pushes. Everyone's breath held. Will he come out ahead? Will he run out of fuel? Will he explode? You never knew. It was dangerous. It was reckless. It was awesome. Then F1 banned refueling in 2010. Too many fireballs. Too expensive. Too easy for strategy nerds to ruin racing. Now, everyone fuels once. At the start. No refills, no splashes, no dashes. Just tires and sadness. RIP splash and dash. You were short. You were explosive. You were peak drama.